Hello, my name's Sean Brown from WiSen Innovation, and in this WiSen Quick Guide video series, I'm going to show you how you can manage and set up projects within the web portal. So first of all, we're going to log into the web portal, and we can see here a loading screen, a default screen, where if we drop down this little bar, we can see that to date we have 3 projects created. Now, to undertake the creation of a new project, we would do this through administration, and that would be through project admin. We're also today going to be covering the creation of a user and also the transferring of nodes between projects and stores. So first of all, we're going to create a dummy project. We go to project admin. We can see here the 3 projects I highlighted earlier, and we press add, and we can name a project as we see fit. Now the critical entries are the ones with the star. We ensure we pick the correct time zone and the correct region where you're setting up this project. Obviously then the daylight saving aspects would be carried forward, and any other metadata you require. So currently 4 available languages, and we're going to select English. And once we've completed all the information, we press add. Now if you had a branding logo or anything such as that, then obviously this is the opportunity to change that such that when you went into that project, you would no longer see the WiSen Innovation logo, you would see your corporate company logo. So I'm just going to go back to project list, and we can see now we have a test project. If we went into that test project, you can see here that there's no nodes because I've not transferred the nodes to this project yet. So what we're going to do next is go to Setup Administration. Now, this may be a customer project you've just created. Now, typically you would create a project within the customer account, but for example, we have a new customer. We would go to User Admin. Now, initially you can see here we have 2 user level account types. Encardio have a L2 distributor, and I believe that the L3 has been created historically just as an example to understand the process. So as a distributor, you would create accounts for your end customers, and they would be then allocated an L3. This means they don't have as many permissions as an L2 distributor account. So what we're going to do now is just pretend we've got a new customer, and perhaps we're going to call this customer test. Obviously we give this a password we see fit and share this with the customer. Now the customer can change this password at any time, and we can see obviously that name would exist, so I'm just going to give it a different name, and we press add. You can see that user is appearing at the top, and if we went to show projects, there are no projects as I've not created it within that user account. Now obviously what you saw me do earlier is create a test project within the L2 account, which I'm currently logged in as. Now if you did that, the next step would be to basically pair the project with the new user account. And everything to do with that is associated to the relation admin. When you land on this page, you have 2 tabs, user project and project node. So the user is associating an account to a project you may have created previously. Now, the user I just created a couple of minutes ago was test02. And we can see that within the CardioWrite L2 account, there are 3 projects, including the one I created today. Now, by pressing tick on the test and pressing add, we've now allocated that project to this user, so that obviously when they log in as their account, they can see this project. and we press save. And you can see here a summary of what's been undertaken. If I'd created the project within this new user, then obviously that project would already be allocated to that user's account. So what I'm showing you here is the step of basically allocating users to projects. Another example of this may be where you've got an end customer logging in and they would just have viewer rights. And so what we'd be doing here is we'd be allocating them access to view several different projects, and the same process would be undertaken here. The next step obviously is this test project has no nodes within it, and the nodes are currently residing typically within the user's store. Now we're just going to go back to project list so we can understand this concept. What we see here is a store, so essentially a shopping basket where nodes reside when we first allocate these to distributors and when you also allocate them to a customer. It is then up to the customer to move them from your store to a project, utilize them in the project, and then once they're finished, you would transfer them back from the project to the store before you then carry them forward to the next potential project. Now if I click on here, we can see in a little summary box there are 0 nodes within this store. Now this is because 2 shipments have been undertaken to date, and what WiSen have done is placed the nodes within dummy projects just so that that concept and that process of reviewing nodes within a project was first undertaken. So the next step here would be transferring the nodes out of the dummy project called shipment 2022-12-26 back to the store, then transferring them forward to the test project. And this is the step I'm going to undertake now. So we go to Setup, Administration, Relation Admin. Now I mentioned earlier there's 2 tabs, so you need to make sure you are on the correct tab. Now, as I pointed out to you, you initially need to know where the nodes are, and we know they're within this project. So by selecting the target project, this populates the box on the right, and automatically we have the store on the left. Now the process can be to select the serial numbers individually because you know which ones you will be moving, or perhaps if you've got a lot of nodes, the process can be to create text files so that you can add or remove them in batches. Now I've created a text file earlier and I'm going to use that process, but if I was to do them individually, you can see here that by left mouse clicking on the points, you can select the nodes of interest, and by pressing remove, it would then transfer the nodes from the right box to the left box, and we would press save. As I mentioned, I'm just going to highlight the text file route. Now we're not adding nodes, we are removing nodes. So we click remove. We'll click the file that I previously generated. And I'm calling this file node transfer. Just so we're understanding, this file contains 3 serial numbers. We press open. We can see that we're getting a summary box to say we are deleting these 3 nodes from the shipment project. And you can see now they've appeared in the left box, and this is back within the store. We would then press save, important step not to forget. We have a confirmation, and we press OK. Now we know that basically now we want to transfer these to a new project, and that project we have called test. So the process now would be to move them forward. So we select test. Sorry, we need to move them to the customer's store. Apologies. So this is an L2 store, level 2 user, and this is a level 3 user. So if you were to be selling nodes to a new customer, you would be allocating the nodes into their store, and that would be the final step that you would undertake. It is then the customer's responsibility to create projects and allocate them to the projects as they see fit. So we're just going to complete this step so you can understand the concept. And instead of pressing add, upload, which I could do, I'm just going to select the 3 nodes. We press add, they appear in the created user store, we press save. And what we're doing now is we're going to be moving them from the store to the test project. So obviously if I was to press test, you can see now the box on the left hand side has become the L3 test 02 customers store. And what we have on the right is the test project, because this is what I've selected. And again, select the 3 nodes, press add, and press save, and confirm. And okay, now if we go back to project list and we look at the projects that we have on offer, then by pressing test, we can see here a little summary box of the nodes that we've transferred, and we would press enter. So this is just an example of transferring some nodes. You would obviously transfer a gateway as well, because that would be part of the process. And we can see here that these nodes now reside within that project. Hopefully this summarizes the approach of administration. We can obviously go to administration is always within the project itself. So setup administration, and we see the same commands here. And obviously if we went back to project list, which is the entry page, I went to setup, we're seeing the same functions. So user admin creating users, project admin creating projects, and relation admin is basically matching user accounts to projects and moving nodes between projects and stores. I'll touch on the node admin. Node admin is a function basically whereby you're trying to sort of track and trace serial numbers and understand the history. So this is the ability to search by serial numbers or alias names, reference IDs, model types, to review the log, the history of where it's been transferred to and from, just to make sure that maybe you're not transferring a node from a live job and potentially using that information within that historic project.